30 billion from a parade of the absurd, if the truth be told. It's now become something where everybody, every Tom, Dick, Harry, his dog and his goat can come out and declare. I remember when I was talking to you about this issue, probably about a couple of months ago, and I told you at the time, I said that the race hasn't started. I didn't know there was going to be a fast and not a race. So yeah, they will continue their game of the absurd, because it's frankly a game of the absurd. Then maybe they will tumble and wumble, and they will eventually decimate themselves. It's inevitable. People are dropping. Everybody in the cabinet appears to be running for the presidency. Every governor who has served 2 terms. There was even a joke flying around yesterday about a man who couldn't get a second time in Lagos running for the presidency as well. So you find that it's become a theater of the absurd. It's not something that is meant to be taken serious, and I don't think we should. We should focus on the issue. Would any one of these people gaining power change our realities? Would it mean that things would change? Would we stop doing things the wrong way? Would we go on the path of rectitude and begin the journey to some sort of salvation as a people, as a race, as a country? None of these people are talking to any issues. They are just, even when they are done with their primaries, if they ever have one, what would qualify as campaign? You see them dancing around the stadiums having fancy carnival, and they will call that campaign. No exchange of ideas, no robust debate. It's only in Nigeria that somebody will want to become the president of 200 million people, and all he will do is raise his hand and be flashing signs from top to bottom, bottom, top. And the one who is not bottom topping is chopping agbado and corn and cassava up. And this is in a situation where the country itself is collapsing. So in reality, I believe that there is a deliberate attempt to distract us from the issues. That's why they are doing all of this. This is eventually there will be no primary. If they have anything, a consensus, somebody will force something down the other people's throat. It will be up to us to find our way forward. These people can't provide any leadership. It's just a comedy of errors, a procession of clowns. That's all it is. Theater of the absurd.
Okay, Theater of the Absurd, 1960 book by Martin Exlin, commenting on the post-World War British literature between 1940 and 60. I think I read that in school. Comedy of Errors, Shakespeare. Okay, I guess your references quite well. But going from that, let me ask you, what's your impression about the fact that for you to get a nomination form for the presidency on the platform of the PDP, you have to pay up to 40 million. On the platform of the APC, you have to pay up to 100 million. If you want to be governor, you have to be 50 million. Many Nigerians have been saying, oh, this is absurd. To go back to Martin Exlin, reference in 1960, do you think it's absurd, or 100 million, 50 million, 40 million? Do you think it's just chicken change? Even now that the EFCC is saying it's going to work with INEC to find out how people are making this kind of money that if you convert to dollar, it doesn't amount to much. What do you think? Do you think this is all about money?
In the closing part of your question, you actually touched on something I scribbled as you were asking the question. When they were going to steal money at the APC secretariat, did they steal Naira? Nobody touched Naira now. Dollars were stolen. So that should tell you something. Naira is of no value to the Nigerian ruining class. They've ruined it. So when they call this Naira, you and I are talking 100 million Naira. They've done the conversion to dollars in their own heads, because what they really spend in their worlds is dollars. They spend dollars. We are the ones who spend Naira that they just print and has little or no value, and our savings and everything are eroded on a daily basis. So let's be clear about something. These high prices will be called because they want to make sure that any joker, maybe somebody who might have ideas but do not have money, does not even qualify to come into their space at all. So it becomes a rarefied space. They are telling you it's not a democracy. It's not even a plutocracy. because the money has become of little or no value and it has no consequence any longer. So it's just them making a statement. You see, when you interrogate theater of the absurd, what you find very quickly is that it's about a normalization of what should ordinarily outrage the senses. Who would have thought in 2014, 2015, when the Saint of Daura was emerging as the one that will come and turn Nigeria around and clean up the mess and launder everything, that it will come to the day when he will be leaving office and they will be selling form in his party for 100 million. He's just, the Nigerian ruling class has lost all sense of self-awareness. They are dancing naked without care because they see everybody around them are equally naked. So it is we who still retain the capacity to be outraged by what we are seeing that are talking about it. It's of no consequence to them. 100 million is not money now. It's not money for them. We are the ones who bow and scrape and run and try to put it together. For them, it's nothing. It's the poor man, and it is public intellectuals, opinion shapers, those in the journalism industry that most of necessity call attention to what should be important. They are deliberately distracting the people. All we are talking about now is the outrageous sum or the outrageous sums of money they are calling to pre-qualify anyone. It's about picking up a form. You haven't started talking about the actual campaign expense of buying delegates, which is a game. So you are presigning resignations alongside dropping that kind of money. It tells you very quickly, one, is not about money, two, is not about the people. This is a game of power, and the commodity being sold in that market are the people. So it's up to us to redefine the issues. This one is just to distract us, is to tell us that they are no longer connected to us. How many of us can get up and go and run without being a thief? How many people can walk in this country today and bring out 100 million or 40 million? How many? How many doctors? How many professors? How many lawyers? How many honest jacks who truly want to work for their people can afford those kind of sums? What the people need to understand is there are 14 other parties. I'm sure not all of them would be comprised of the same set of debauched, wicked people who have been ruling us. It is up to the Nigerian people to find their own capacity to find alternatives to this. Even in the midst of all of this madness, we are not without choices. And it is up to us to begin to look for those alternatives. These cannot be the ones who will rescue us. Where are they getting these monies from? Somebody said the other day, your CBN governor, that was written that the rice farmers are the ones who bought him from. This is inhuman.
Okay, let's break down the issues one after the other. First, I wanted you to comment on the EFCC saying it's working with the INEC to make sure that the source of these millions, hundreds of millions, is the
Doctor, it's very easy to get bogged down in the details of our everyday madness. If EFCC has any shame, he should just shut up. He wants to start probing the source of money. Where was it when people were carrying, when they turned Babari gas into mobile banks? Is it today? The only people EFCC chases around are Yahoo boys. Anyone attacks Yahoo boy become a Yahoo boy. He goes after people. He just bullies little small fries and is mollycoddling up. Okay, so even with that EFCC, when it manages to get convictions, what happens? The signature convictions that they had in recent time, Dele and Nyame, where are they? They are out. They are in their homes. Little crooks, little people who are stealing to survive. They're spending years rotting away in jail. But politicians, people in position of public trust, who had power of life and death and were commuting and confirming sentences on people who stole, These were the persons that the Council of State sat down without shame and freed. And the EFCC is still busy saying that it wants to find out the source of this. It will work with INEC. That was how MTNA was busy saying he wants to be testing. They should stop all these episodic gyrations. It's just selective outrage. It does nothing. And the people are already aware that it does nothing. How many people have they caught? The people who are busy fainting in the National Assembly, as the EFCC found them, the ones who were busy turning off the mic, offing mic, who are many of them has the EFCC called? How many of them has it interrogated? It's only the small boy with the computer laptop somewhere that they are busy parading up and down the place, harassing up and down the place. EFCC should at least spare us his inclusion in this theater of the absurd. He's already a star player, but let it not draw attention to itself. It's a distraction, I beg.
Okay. You refer to people dancing naked, and that reminded me of Fred Agbeyegbe's play, famous play, The King Dances Naked. The King Must Dance Naked. Fred Agbeyegbe, lawyer and dramatist. Who is dancing naked here? Is it the Southern leaders who met yesterday on the platform of the APC, and they wanted to come up with a consensus candidate on the platform of the APC? Or is it the Southern Governors Forum, led by Governor Akeredolu of Ondo State, who is saying on behalf of his group that it must be a Southern president or there will be nothing? Or is it your Imelbi or Aneze Indigbo that met on Thursday, reiterating the position of the Southeasterners that for the purposes of equity, fairness, and justice, the best way to go for Nigeria is to have a Southeastern president? Or is it the North? The Arawa Consultative Forum or the Northern Elders Forum, who are accusing Southerners of blackmailing the North and insisting that this is a democracy. The president can come from anywhere. What do you say to all of this? Who is dancing naked right now in Nigeria?
Okay. You know, as far as I'm concerned, the further you are away from the truth, the more naked you become in this dance of the absurd. So you've actually set out 4 key set of dancers. There are a lot of dancers in the market square right now. But the first set of dancers is you spoke to the Southern leaders who gathered under the auspices of Baba Konde, Oshoba, and they gathered all of themselves together, Yorubas generally, and gathered themselves together, and they were, I'm told, talking about a consensus. One of the first things I said in response to that, I think it was on Wednesday when I first heard the news, I posted something online. I said, people join Ibere Oteni, Ajatuka Nitagbani. My prayer for them is that they shall scatter. As they gather, so must they scatter. As far as I'm concerned, a gathering headed by Chief Bisi Akonde and Chief Segun Oshoba, seeking a consensus amongst the different actors that were informed were put together, was just a fig leaf show. It was that one, as far as I am concerned, is a gathering of a tongue, deceit, and it must of necessity scatter. And I'll come to that. So those ones are definitely dancing naked. The important thing is to put the spotlight on them in due course. The second one, the Southern Governors Forum. I have a lot of disagreements with several people in that forum, but as a group, they've tended to speak at least to, they recognize the corporate interest of the South to a very large extent. Because usually what you find with Southern politicians is that they are mostly concentrated on cornering economic advantages and garner just money. They're focused on garnering money. But the Northern politicians are usually generally focused on the retention of power. They understand the place of power in the dynamics of things, which most Southern politicians fail to understand, and they always lack strategic focus. But the Southern Governors Forum has tended to create a certain level of focus, and I am in complete agreement with their position that the presidency of Nigeria must, it is not a plea, it must come to the southern part of Nigeria. I will explain by the time I start dealing with the man who is always running his mouth, Hakim Baba Ahmed or whatever he says his name is. When I come to that part of the question, I'll deal with why it becomes a must that it has to come to the south. Or unless Igbo's position, if I could say I agree 150%, I'll say so, because as far as I'm concerned, reiterating what I said in relation to the second set of dancers, I am in complete alignment with the position of Ohaneze Igbo. But in coming to the conclusion and dealing with the position of the Arewa Consultative Forum, I will now tie it together. Nigeria, at inception, only became because we agreed that we will be a federation. Each region would govern itself, determine its own fate, and go at its own pace. If it had been structured the way it is today, the first person to have left that room would have been Ahmadu Bello. He certainly would never have agreed to this over-centralized system. Never. He would never have agreed to it. And neither would any of the other two principal negotiators at that table. But the northern part of Nigeria, the Fulani oligarchy, the hegemony, restructured Nigeria beginning from July 1966. And it has remade Nigeria in its own image, over-centralizing the totality of the governance systems and making it next to impossible for the different peoples trapped within the Nigerian enterprise to find breathing room. Now that it has now garnered all that power and centralized it, it has become so lucrative that the same people who are arguing about rotation in 2014 have suddenly discovered that rotation is not something to be embraced now. Now, when those whose fathers strode behind cows to enter Nigeria begins to point the ancestral groves of those of us whose fathers, up until the time of Adam were born in this place and have been buried in this place, and they are now telling the person, I'm speaking specifically to the person, I'm not talking to a tribe, I'm speaking to a person, the spokesman of Arewa Consultative Forum, whose fathers came from Mauritania, who will now come to Nigeria and be telling me or anyone else that he holds a sanction to determine who becomes. That thing that they are holding sanction to decide who becomes is what we don't want. We never wanted this over-centralized system. Break it back to the way it was or restructure it back to become a federation, and then everybody can govern their father's space as they care. But to have a situation where you unilaterally without consultation change the basis of the existence of the federation, you changed it. It is no longer a federation. Today, it is not even a unitary system. We keep lying to ourselves and we say Nigeria is unitary. It is not unitary. Britain is unitary, and yet it devolved powers. You've got the Welsh Assembly, you've got the Scottish Assembly, and you certainly have the Irish assemblies as well. So you have a situation where today we say we are a federation, but the federal government is the one creating local government. This is the reason why you'll be hearing a man like Hakim telling everybody that it is a game of democracy. If it is a game of democracy, then restructuring is surely about democracy. It is about the capacity for self-determination. And that should not be something that we should be debating. So if it's a democracy, let it be a democracy across board. In 1999, it was okay that it should be the Yorubas. And every major party in this country worked to make sure that their candidates were Yoruba persons. It wasn't that there weren't other tribes who stood up, but the parties consciously worked by consensus in recognition of the Yoruba's grievances over June 12. In 2007, when Obasanjo was leaving, there wasn't any argument about whose turn it was. That it went to a sickly man was by Obasanjo's design, and by divine orchestration, Jonathan emerged. He spent a second term. And the argument against him coming in a second time in his own right was this issue of rotation. And power rotated by fire by crook. He went to General Buhari. He has spent 8 years in power. But there is one part of the southern part of Nigeria that has not benefited from this fraudulent power shift arrangement, that is an elite consensus amongst themselves when it pleased them without consultation with the people. How come all of a sudden this consensus is not available to Ndi Igbo? How? The only reason the like of me will continue to argue that it is the turn of Ndi Igbo is because Ndi Igbo has been the testing ground for all of Nigeria's marginalizations and iniquities. If an Ndi Igbo person can be president of Nigeria, whether that be by consensus or whatever, it validates the citizenship of a lot of us who have come to see clearly that Nigeria is not structured to give us citizenship. And if we do have one, it will be by multiple level and layers of citizenship. So I hope I did not skip any one of your questions this time around, Doc.
Okay, fine. But I wanted to ask you also about, you talked about the comedy of errors. William Shakespeare. I used to teach a course in my earlier days titled Shakespeare and his Contemporaries. Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Natch, Thomas George, Christopher Marlowe, yes, and John Lilo. Some of those people who competed with Shakespeare, 1540 to 1650, in English literature. Now, what are the comedy of errors that we're dealing with right now? Because I thought you used that phrase deliberately from Shakespeare. We have Pastor Tunde Bakare. He wants to be president. We have the vice president. He wants to be president. We have in the APC about 40 persons who all want to be president. And they are picking the forms right, left, and center, and all of that. So are we dealing with the comedy of errors? Or what's your definition of this comedy of errors that we're dealing with? And what is likely to be the consequences for Nigerians?
The consequences are already staring us in the face. There is already a complete collapse of governance. But the beauty of the situation in this comedy of errors is that they are all dancing naked in the marketplace. Everything that we've yelled and shouted from mountain tops that the people had become deaf and dumb to, they are seeing it played out in broad daylight. So it's not so difficult to prove the fact of the comedies anymore. So let me go back to the beginning of the question. Today, we see a Pastor Tunde Bakare flunking 100 million to come into the race. Incidentally, we don't only have a vice president, we have a pastor vice president as well. So a second pastor has come into the race, or the merrier. So here is the thing that we now need to ask ourselves. Exactly what are these men telling us that they will do that is different and that has removed us from talking about a comedy? That has any one of them brought anything to the space, to the marketplace of ideas that has threatened to provoke debate and interest amongst the people? No, they've only served to titillate, entertain. It's more or less like some buffoonery of some sort. You see where the same place where pastor is coming out is where a convict who was freed on a technicality and is being still prosecuted now. Okay, let me not say a convict. He's out now, but he's still being tried. The same party, it too is going to come out and is going to run, and they are co-presidential aspirants in that same party. It's if our situation wasn't so tragic, we should be laughing. They are writing skits. You know, Nigerians we're quite funny, and it's good. Doc will understand this a lot. When the Jews, at the peak of their suffering in Auschwitz and the other places, they found that they could resort to dark humor. So they start making fun of their situation. Nigerians are already in that place. We make fun of our tragedies now. So it's a comedy of errors, different things, and it's also revelatory. So when a pastor stands up and is talking at the pulpit, and you can sense clearly that there is a political agenda to what he is saying, it becomes easier to recognize now that we know that the line between the pulpit and the political podium have been obliterated. So when somebody is telling us about a curse on Ndigo, we now know why those causes are being brought forth and stories, and they are having all sorts of historical revisionism simply because people have political ambition. The pulpit is no longer, I'm not saying pastors cannot run, but you shouldn't be making political pronouncements from the pulpit and then begin to run. You are hunting with the hair and running with the arms. Would you also have something for the delegates? Because I don't understand this any longer. So it's a comedy of errors.
Well, but in any case, I mean, there's a thin line between politics and religion. Religion has always been political, and politics has always had religious undertones. However, let's talk about consensus candidacy. In the last few days, we've been hearing that the PDP wants to get a consensus. Southerners are also talking about consensus. Do you think there will be any consensus candidacy, given the complications indicated by the forces of religion, ethnicity, and, if you like, elitism?
You see, our living reality is not unlike that of a band of antelopes betting on the lions who are fighting for territory. Eventually, it is the antelopes that will end up in the bellies of the lions. The fact is that what they call consensus in their place, in that rarefied circle of Nigerian dealers, is simply the fact that, look, Ogbeni, you need to go and sit down. We have decided that this person, even a veteran journalist, mentioned the owners of Nigeria, quote and unquote. When those owners in their different covens have met, they will decide who the consensus candidate is, and then the consensus candidate will be duly informed that he is the consensus candidate. And those who have been asked to go and step down, the one they will post on your behalf to The Hague, they will inform him. The one they will offer a ministerial slot, they will tell him. The one they will decimate because they will refuse to listen, they will decimate. That's the way their game is played. It is up to the Nigerian people to understand this clearly and then learn to look beyond this coven of killers who are only, because I'm not calling them killers because they haven't killed, but I'm not talking about the taking of human life. I'm talking about killing dreams, killing hope, evaporating hope almost completely. We are the ones who need to look beyond them. We need to see them for what they truly are and stop lying to ourselves about any chance of them changing from who they are into anything different. Reality is that they will eventually, you might see a lot of scatterings, and it's not today. Some will move from the APC to the PDP, some will move from the PDP to the APC. The SDP is looking like a new bride. Some will move there. They will move back and forth, but eventually it's the same people, the same ideas, the same ideologies nothing for the people. Like my mother would say, they have nothing to offer. Nothing.
Okay, Dele. Okay, before we, take a break and then allow other commentators to join this conversation, we have like 40 aspirants on the APC side. We have about 15 on the PDP side. We have others from the other 16 political parties, 18 political parties having been registered. If you were to make a choice or a short list, who and who will you be recommending to Nigerians?
In response to this question you've just asked, I've said repeatedly that when we come to that bridge, we will cross it. I'm saying this because I'm not even sure that we will have an election in this country in 2023. And I'm telling you that despite the fact that I've been upfront in asking people to get their PVC. But even this comedy, this carnival of 40 aspirants, 100 million, I am not a man who believes in things happening by accident. I actually see a webmaster playing somewhere, deliberately exposing the stupidity of this class, either with a view to discrediting them so that a bigger player shows up at some point. But I don't see any basis for optimism to the point where I can now be saying, oh, this person. But let's now move beyond that. Regardless of who I or any other person might endorse, if the person does not have a clear plan to restructure this country, I, for one, will never support any such person. That's one. But if anybody gains power in Nigeria, if there should be election in 2023, and the person does not have a restructuring agenda, Nigeria is dead. The only thing that you can do after Buhari is to reimagine Nigeria. You cannot repair it. He has damaged it beyond repair. His irredentism, his ethno-religious bigotry has destroyed Nigeria. All the lies that used to hold Nigeria together, Buhari has vaporized them. All the lies that it was corruption that was killing Nigeria, Buhari has killed that lie as well. Corruption is not Nigeria's problem, it's impunity. What Buhari's reign has done is to institutionalize that impunity to the point where it has become part and parcel of our body politic. So people routinely do as they care without recourse to law. So if anybody is coming in 2023 believing that he can come and run the same system, Nigeria is dead. If you gave an Igbo man the presidency today and he does not have a structuring plan,
Dele, beware of hate speech. You know that the broadcast, the Nigeria Broadcast Commission, the Broadcast Commission is listening.
They have described as for hate now. Slated for hate. No. The truth is not hateful. The truth is the truth. If I say Nigeria is dead, it's demonstrative. Let me show you, Doc.
No, Nigeria is alive and well. Nigeria is alive and well.
It is not well. It is alive, but it is not well. Don't let's lie to ourselves. I dare you to drive to Ibadan when you leave your studio now. Drive to Ibadan, and you say Nigeria is well. Nigeria is not well. It is alive, but it is not well. We must tell ourselves the truth. NBC knows my address. DSS have my address. I have not told a lie. The truth is an absolute defense.
Well, I don't want them to know my own address.
You have it already now. You'll be their customer now.
Anyway, the point I want to make is this. You were referring to Professor Banji Akintoye, who was saying that, look, unless you restructure Nigeria, Nigeria cannot move forward. And then, of course, you also have Chief Afe Babalola SAN, who is even saying, look, forget about the 2023 elections until we address the matter of the 1999 Constitution, which does not reflect the will, the wishes, the aspirations of the Nigerian people, that it will be foolhardy to even talk about 2023. But it seems to me that part of the planned legacy of President Muhammadu Buhari is to make sure that the 2023 general elections hold. and he has told us that it will be credible electoral process. What do you say to all of this?
You see, the taste of the ewedu is in the tasting. You have to put it in your mouth to taste it. We're in a situation now where if you placed a map of Nigeria on a wall and you had red for crisis and blue for peace, you will be hard pressed to find any space on which to pin your blue. Everywhere will be red. You have 2023 elections scheduled, you have 2023 census scheduled, and yet nobody can drive outside any city perimeter. You can't go outside the city limit for 50 kilometers without being apprehensive for your life. Airlines are threatening to stop running by next week. And they want to have an election, and the president, who cannot guarantee the safety of people from Kaduna to Abuja, on whose watch trains are being bombed, hostages are being held by terrorists who have told us that the president already knows what they want. You're looking to unbundle the energies of the people, or you keep dismissing them. Fact of the matter is that we can keep postponing the evil day. Nigeria is alive. It is very much alive, but it is not well. If it's going to be well, we would have to deal with these issues.
Okay. On that note, Dele Farotimi, we'll take a short break now. And then when we return, we'll open the lines to take comments from our listeners and persons who have joined us on social media. Remember, if you want to be part of this conversation, you can call us on 0700-1051-1051 and also on 091-6035-7705. I'll take that again. 091-6035-7705. And on WhatsApp, 090-916-4403. And on our social media accounts at City1051 on Zoom and Facebook. We'll take this short break and we'll be right back. Our guest is still Dele Farotimi, lawyer and human rights activist.
City Talks with Reuben Abati on City 105.1 FM.
Please note, the views and opinions expressed in the course of this program do not represent that of City 105.1 FM. The station, therefore, is not liable to any legal action that may result from the program.
Okay, welcome back to City Talks with Reuben Abati here at City 1051 FM in the city of Lagos. And our guest is still Dele Farotimi, lawyer and human rights activist. You can call us, as I said earlier, on 0700-1051-1051 and also on 091-6035-7705 and on WhatsApp 09099164403 and of course via social media at City1051 on Zoom and Facebook. Now, who is going to bear the cat? We have a caller on the line. Yes.
Yeah, Reuben, good afternoon. This is Maurice from his floor.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, he's done the right thing by cautioning Dele. He's using too many strong words. And I don't think it fits well. You can be anti-government all you want, but then it's up to you to be decorous a bit. That aside, I'll pick on some issues. To label the president general is an insult on the electorate. He was voted in, for God's sake. The least you can do is still address him as president. Did he enter power? I mean, is he now failed because of a coup? I keep asking the question. Because you see media of nation like Punch, they found him as Major General as well. If he's National now, occupying National, did he get in there via the coup? Did he not win an election? So to call him a general is an insult. Secondly, we've had 10 constitutional conferences, 10. So restructuring is not Nigeria's problem. So see that as one key that fits in all doors is just as in Bangladesh. It's just daydreaming. It will not work. If constitution is not the problem. If all federal units as in the state, have done what they should do over time. We won't over-centralize our attention on Abuja or what they do there. It's not unfortunate that many local government chairmen, many state governors are inactive and they go scot-free. Also, this clamor for Southeast is not a must rule Nigeria. I keep saying that. America has tried for over 250 years. Out of the 13 counties that form the United States, 3-4 of them have never approached president. One good example is Rhode Island. Are they because of that? Brother America? No, it's because are they because, okay, a particular one, New York, as at the last count, Donald Trump was the 6th or 7th person to emerge from New York alone of the 13 original counties. What we say here? If Southeast, somebody is banning an Igbo man from contesting, they have other platforms to contest. I mean, it is constitutional that anybody can emerge at any time. This rotation policy is just convention. They are not constitutional. They are not backed by any ground norm. So they can contest. But if they don't win, must everyone fall. What is this subtle threat that if they don't win, there will still be unrest at the Southeast? It does not make any sense. So again, let him work with that. You have to use temperate language. That you are in the opposition does not mean you should just be as crass. It does not make any sense. This program, this platform is too sacrosanct to have some words to be. I'm listening to him with disgust. You don't need such. You don't like somebody, fine, don't vote for him. But again,
okay, thank you. Point well made. Yeah, well, Dele Farotimi, quite an animated reporter there. Familiar?
Well, let me say this. I will be shocked if I would express the kind of strong opinions I have, and those who feel caught by my words do not find a way to respond. That's fine. But the only thing I made out of his diatribe, unless you want to please recap, the only thing I made out of it was his protest about me calling a general a general. He earned the title, and sorry, he's not even a general, he's a major general. He never earned the general title. But I called him by his proper appellation. If he were to be a medical doctor, he would be proud to be called a doctor. Dr. Reuben Abati would probably take offense if I called him Mr. Reuben. He earned his doctorate. So if I called General Buhari, it's a function of the fact that he is a military general, or was a general, not a full one by the way, but it would be quite a mouthful to have called him Major General. That's why I abbreviated and called him a general. That is a general is a statement of fact. It's not an abuse. The remaining part, I could barely, in all honesty, I couldn't make out what he was saying. And I'm not here on a debate. I'm here to offer my opinion. He's free to express his own. But I really didn't get what he said, so I can't respond. But I have no apologies for my words, because I speak for those who will not have the opportunity to come here to speak. But I feel them, because I was one of them. And it's only by the grace of God that the like of me can speak on their behalf. So you can get as offended as you care. I don't speak for you, and I don't care for your opinion.
Okay, we'll take more calls. There's another caller on the line. Good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Dr. Abati. My name is Ambrose, and I live in Mowe. I want to greet your guest, and I want to say well done to him. You can see why we are where we are. When we have people who are apologists, you see a president who has nothing to show, just like the guest has said. And then you see somebody attacking him because probably he's benefiting from the system. If you are benefiting from the system, what about other 200 million Nigerians who are suffering? There is no light. The tariff has increased. Dollar is 600 naira. There is no health facilities. The education is at a comatose. The refineries are not working. And you can see from all indications that this man is a religious man, bigot. And you are here telling us, attacking somebody who has come to speak as a human rights lawyer simply because you are benefiting from the system. So for me, I think we are our problems. We applaud people who are not performing because we are benefiting from the system. And as long as we keep on applauding these people, they will keep on maltreating us. We are talking of a better Nigeria. In 1 year's time, this man will live there. So they want to worship him, and when he lives there, let them follow him. Nigeria is greater than any other person. And if this is how the presidency should be zoned to the south, and I don't see anything wrong if it is zoned to the southeast. After all, they are Nigerians and they have every right. Are they not human beings? So please, when you are, talking, talk for yourself. Don't talk for anybody. God bless you.
Thank you very much. But before I get Dele Farotimi to respond to that, let's take another call. So many people, trying to put in a word. Please go ahead.
Very good afternoon to you, my doctor.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon to your guests in the studio. My name is Prince Y.S. calling from Amuwadofin. Doctor, are you with me?
I'm with you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, my dear. Number one, when you talk of rotational president, yes, I think when we talk of South, North, that's how they usually call it. In Nigeria today, since 1999, only two regions benefited from this Aso Rock matter. North East have not benefited, North Central, nor South East. It means that three benefited and three remaining. So if they go into the South, I think it is better for PDP to switch their presence to the South because they have their views on that area. If you talk of PDP today, they do have 8 governors for the South. They only have 5 from the North. And when you talk of APC today, I think they have candidates from the Southwest. What I'm expecting Nigeria to do, anybody that occupies Aso Rock, is to develop Nigeria equally. You know what people are saying? He must come to my side, he must come to my because he's leader, not for 1999. So it's 1960. We have the position, religious settlement start from there. The abolition started from 1966. So if we can trace, and I want everybody to understand, when we are saying starting from 1999, have we forgotten 1960? Who ruled Nigeria? Asiko never ruled Nigeria before. So what I want all Nigeria to know, we need a president that will serve Nigeria, that will cater for Nigeria, that is ready to do justice for every section. We are actually dominant in the trap in Nigeria. What of the minorities? We have more than 400 tribes in this country. And I want to say categorically, what we are facing in Nigeria today, we are facing insecurity. Even if insecurity go out of the way, you can't tell me that God did not perform. When you talk infrastructure, you can never, you rate him higher. And when you talk security, insecurity in Nigeria overshadow all the good the person come out. So for me, your guest today is so very well, but his mind is the way he talks so arrogant. He can say accuse me myself, but that's not looking to address issues. Let's only do better in the sector. The other thing you do was you irritate. Whether we like it or not, democracy must thrive in this country. And I want to say categorically in Nigeria, if they say anybody should go to the field, if I think will come out, will come out, will come out. Anybody that Nigeria feel like vote for, they vote for them. That's my stand this afternoon. God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm sure Dele Farotimi had you very well to call us, all right? One was praising you, the other one was a bit critical. Your comments?
Doc, I've always admired the Roman emperors, especially Caesar. He had that chap that would be sat by his side.
Augustus Caesar?
Yeah.
He
says, when they start clapping, he says, you are just a man. You are only a man. You are not God. You are only a man. I have never been I've never been affected by anybody's opinion of me. It's nice to hear one being praised, and it's nice to hear one being appreciated. But I also understand clearly why people would not like what I have to say most times. But my conscience is clear. I have no agenda of any sort. I seek no office. I look for no contract from no man. I speak to the truth of my own spirit. If that is liked by someone, if they don't like it, it doesn't do anything for me. The key thing for me is, if I have spoken and you can attack the veracity of my words, if you can impeach the truth of what I have to say, it's not a function of whether you like the way I said it. I don't care whether you like the way I said it or not. If you are a thief, you are a thief. I'm not going to say that you are playing with the goat. You are a thief. I'm not going to say because you are old, I can't call you a fool. Fools grow old. If somebody is old and is a fool, he's a fool. You can tell me that you don't like the style of address, but you cannot query the truth of my word. When you are able to query the truth of what I have to say, then I am concerned. That is the point when I would have to introspect and check myself. Until that happens, may I enjoy the opprobrium of my enemies. It makes me laugh. It's only fun for me. All I have done is told the truth. Anyone who is not happy about it, let them point out where I have lied. I've only said my piece. So both those who praise me and those who deride me, I love them just the same. God bless them all.
Okay, we'll take another call before we begin to wrap it up today. Yes, who's on the line?
Hello, good day. My name is Felix. I'm calling from Ebeda.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, I'm really young, and I was listening to learn from what the elders had to say, and someone who took a sign came out to the radio station to speak for those who do not have the opportunity to, doing this fair and justice job. And someone who happened to be offended by the fair and genuine opinion called to lambast someone else who is being rational and sincere. It's unbelievable, I will tell you this for sure, and it is only sad. I do believe that Dele is impeccable in his opinions. I'm not trying to, make him feel good, but the truth is, people are not very happy with what is going on, and what is even worse is it is getting worse, right? So it is best we find a way to fix the political system and fix the educational system, and make sure that we are headed for a better world, a better nation. This is home for us. Okay, if we do not fix it, where are we going to? So thank you so much, Dele. I see you at the start. I'm really young again. I just finished school and I turned in to listen, and I was very happy with what you were saying until someone called in to say what he had to say. I can only say thank you for offering your opinions, and I hope things take a better tone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll just take one more intervention and then we'll bring this program to a close today. Who is the next caller on the line?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Mr. Uche from Anabado. Hello.
Hello, please go ahead.
Yeah, please. The man you invited there has spoken the general mind of Nigeria. So I will just appeal to him to remain calm, even in the line of provocation by the first caller, because the man that called first just spoke of his own mind, not Nigeria's mind. The one you invited there spoke generally of what all average Nigerians are feeling. We are dying in our nation in the land of plenty. So I don't see the reason why when somebody can hamper what that man is saying. The truth must be told. There is hunger in the land, high cost of living, everything has gone back from where it is from the beginning. So please, I'm urging that man to remain calm, and we are in his support. Is what I want to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, Dele Farotimi, as you can see, these last two, callers, they're on your side. But the last caller says, you should be calm, you shouldn't worry, because you have said the truth. Well, I will take closing remarks from you before I bring this conversation to a close. Back to you.
You know, Doc, I became conscious of my duty a while back, and the consciousness of that duty has offered me very thick skin. It's not personal. Our battles are not against flesh and blood. It's against principalities and powers, rulers of dark places. People think that when they hear rulers of dark places, principalities and powers, they are waiting to see people with wings, flying, clothed hooves. It's a lie. They ride in limousines. They sit in government houses. They call on behalf of our enslavers. They call into programs like this. The enslavers can't call the program. They have to have agents who will call. I frankly cannot be less bothered by the rants of beneficiaries of this system. I am deliberately provocative. It is not my duty to mollycoddle anybody or to pat them on the head. If you are a thief, you are a thief. Some other person will come and pat you on the head. So my parting word is that let them be prepared for more excoriation. It is my duty to tell them what will become of them. It is not my duty to make them feel good with themselves. No, it is my duty to bring light and clarity, not massage anybody's ego. If you are a thief, you are a thief. If you are a criminal, you are a criminal. And the Nigerian ruining class is criminal.
Strong words there. But on that note, I would like to thank you very much, Dele Farotimi, for taking time out to join us on City Talks with Reuben Abati today.
Always a pleasure.
Remember, the conversation does not end here. You can still reach out to me if you are listening to this program, or if you are watching it on social media, you can reach out to me on my social media account at Abati1990 on Instagram, and also at City1051 on all social media platforms. For those of you who joined us rather late, there's no need to worry. You can visit the YouTube page City1051 to watch the entire show. And when you do so, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave comments. And don't forget also to tune in next week at 12 noon for another exciting edition of City Talks. My name is Reuben Abati. The show was produced by Adedoja Allen, Adetunji Adeteye, Charles Flames, Ezekiel Olawumi, Abiodun Odunton, Ayoda Amola Oludara, and Oluwaseun Adetitun. Have a great weekend, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next Saturday. Bye for now.
The same flavor,
Extreme poverty, totally unacceptable.
same on the edge experience.
Why is it that an average policeman